Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the DomJake Podcast. My name's Jay,
And I'm Dominic.
and today we have a little cool thing cooking up for you. Essentially, it's to get into the meat and potatoes. It's pretty much how we do things.
And can you be a little more specific?
Yes. So essentially, every family out there has different ways of doing things. Correct?
Yep, they do have their own, they do have their own values and stuff.
Yeah. So we could dive into a little bit of the values, but for this episode, we're kind of going to be comparing and contrasting the way that Dom's household does things and the way that my household does things. Whether it's family routines like grocery shopping or maybe meal plans, to even how things are decided, like maybe a democratic process or maybe like a shared decision free for all thing. And so on and so forth. I do have a bullet point list, but we could kind of bounce up and down all around. If there's a tangent that's related, then you know what? We could talk about that too. Um, so let's get this started already then. So earlier I did mention in part of the examples the grocery shopping. I kind of want to get into that with you. How is it that your family does grocery shopping?
Okay, so either like on weekends, mostly Sundays, I'll go grocery shopping with my mom, or sometimes we all go shopping together. And there's really not much else to say other than we pretty much get stuff for the week in terms of like meal plans. We get stuff even just to snack on later on in the day. Uh, just basic stuff like what you would get at a grocery store.
Well, the thing about that, and I want to kind of touch up on something that you said. You just said there's not really much else to say about it. There is a lot to say about just grocery shopping.
But
Like what
okay,
what types of places do you frequent? Like, is it the wholesaler where it's like if you're going one day a week, then you want to buy a lot of things so that it lasts you that entire time? Or
okay.
is it you're going to the smaller place? Are you going to a mixture of different like types of places? Or heck, Asian markets or just international delis to get every fish imaginable. I know you're not a fish person, but like what types of places? That's
Generally, it's a grocery store.
well, yeah, but what type of grocery store is what the question was.
It is a generally we go to the Walmart Supercenter. That is a local Walmart Supercenter.
Because I also heard you mentioning Costco before.
But that's not our grocery shopping place, but we do like to go there sometimes.
So if you're going to Costco, what are you doing at Costco if it's not to grocery shop?
Well, sometimes we look at clothes stuff, or just walk around, like check out the samples they got there. But we do like to go there every now and then. Um, Not just clothes, but they also have other stuff there, like snacks.
Right,
Sometimes the food
that's
court's
fine.
actually pretty good.
We don't need to do a Costco shilling episode. We're not
But
going to do an advertisement.
but
But
no, that I'm just giving you the general thing we do. Not every trip is going to be exactly how it is.
it's probably going to be the same sort of thing as any wholesale place, right?
Yeah,
It's going to have its clothing, it's going to have its eggs, it's going to have its tents if
yeah,
you want to get a tent there.
yeah. But yeah, um,
So you only pretty much visit like a wholesale place if You just want to kill some time?
Sometimes we do that, but not just to kill some time, but the gas prices are cheap there as well.
That's that's fair as well. Um,
But
so what I'm gathering is you are a weekly shop,
shopper.
right?
But yes. Yep.
And how many people is that shopping trip for?
It can just be one person, but sometimes it's like most of us. So like the
Like
sibling.
I'm not asking who's going on the trip. I'm asking who's benefiting from the trip, right? Who's
Um,
being shopped for?
really for it's being shot for all of us. So
How
like,
many is all of us?
four of us.
For? Okay. We pretty much do a similar situation. You could continue saying what you're saying first.
Yep, like I did say before. Yep, we it benefits all of us, so that way we all have a meal plan. Like, what do we want for this day? What do we want for this day? Like Mr. Krabs says, and the next day, and the next day. But and
Give it
then,
up for day 13. No,
but
no, but we kind of do a similar sort of situation. However, most of the time, our trips are not a Walmart, but another semi-similar sort of place. It is one of the local Stop and Shops. That's where we pretty much go
mm-hmm.
weekly. But the caveat is we have 5 people here. We also have, a dog, which we can get the food at the same Stop and Shop. We
Hmm.
can get them at the other place that we frequent, BJ's, another wholesaler.
Yep, that's what Costco's beating them in the sample department.
Who
But
gives a shit about samples, really?
it's kind of just one of those like in-store experiences that you never just get online, right?
No,
But
no, but I'm serious. Like, if we're putting a pin in this, we've had like a 3, 4 year, honestly, closer to 3, but a 3 year pandemic where everything is dirty and you're always looking at, oh my God, this thing that I used to do all the time is gonna make me sick now. That's disgusting. Like, there was a time when I went to a Chinese buffet and I saw a kid licking the ice cream dispenser, the actual nozzle where it comes out, not just the machine
hmm.
or a bowl. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just take ice cream for the one that's next to it, right? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
that nozzle, we'll take the other one. I wouldn't do that now. Like
Mm-hmm.
the idea of samples, especially now that a pandemic happened, appalls me. But
Hmm.
going back to the other situation, we do have a BJ's, right?
Yeah,
And we
so
do
you get
that membership.
like you get your pet supplies there too, right?
We mostly get the grocery types of stuff. We get like the eggs, we get like the pieces of chicken or something, but we kind of go based off of what is cheaper. We also can visit ShopRite, not too often, but sometimes they have the better deal, so sometimes we go there too.
Well, it's like every like grocery store's got their own unique like stuff, exclusive offers,
And
person,
that's true.
but like in my personal experience, I, ShopRite's really not that great.
It's I would say the reason why that one suffers is just the location where it is.
That's
It's
definitely
it's
a
something where
true factor.
you can't just turn off from the highway. You have to kind of go around, about, around, across the street. Now you're there. It's
Yeah,
to
it's the
take back
location's really
roads.
not that great, but
Like it's in my opinion, like it's just not the one that I'm used to. It has it has its ups, it has its downs.
Yeah, because like I don't know, there's maybe a few things I would get at ShopRite that I wouldn't get anywhere else.
I mean, ShopRite, for one, I think has a bigger international section
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to, getting imported shenanigans. But I would still probably go to like an import store, like a thing that's like specialized for an import store. But regardless, it sounds like most of the time it's your mother that's going to these trips, right?
Uh-huh.
And most of the time she's alone on this.
Yeah.
And how often is she alone, or is it most of the time with another person, or
Oftentimes, like, she's doing the shopping alone.
and oftentimes it's the same sort of situation here, except if it is going to be a wholesale place, we will sometimes have, you know, other people joining my mom. Sometimes it's me, most times it's dad, because that's always on the weekend as well. Um, you do you ever go to a grocery store just in the middle of the week? Just, oh, we ran out of this one thing that I really wanted to use, but I can't because it's gone. You ever do a middle of the week thing?
Occasionally. It's just
That's an
not a.
occasion.
Yep.
Speaking of something that you do, this will kind of segue into another point, but I'm still kind of talking about grocery shopping. When you are shopping for something, is it stuff where it's generalized things like, I don't know, a carton of eggs and like some chicken pieces or some tomato puree, things that could be used for many different things, or are you getting things that are specifically, oh, this is just for my, I don't know, my one dish that I do. This one ingredient
It's
only for this.
it's kind of a mix where we
It's
usually get we get the eggs, we get the milk. We'll probably get stuff at like where all the meats are, like the chicken, the beef. Um, yep, and we do get the cans of tomatoes, like paste or sauce. Like generally, we do get the same type of stuff, but then there's the time where okay, I need this ingredient for like this occasion.
so most of the time your weekly routine is on the weekend. You'll go to one of the places, and for your case, I guess it's Walmart more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you will get a bunch of things. Do you ever do something where you write down the meal plan for the week, for Sunday through Saturday, and you write down like, say you wanted to do a big breakfast, right? And so on Sunday maybe you wanted to do that pancake breakfast, so you do all the pancake ingredients in one section, and then all of the Monday ingredients, all the Tuesdays, and do you ever
No,
do things like
I
that,
don't
or do you
think
just you never plan it by like meal?
we just get the stuff.
You just get the stuff and then kind of wing it throughout the week or something.
Yep, that's usually
All
what
right.
we.
So speaking of meal planning, though, how is it that your household does meal plans?
Um, Most of the time my mom cooks stuff, but if there's anything specific I want, then sure I'll cook something.
So most of the time it is it's a mom does it all type of scenario.
But I mean, also my sister can make stuff too.
I mean, all of you probably can make stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
all.
saying, like,
But no,
most of the
we
time, the meal plan is, I'm not going to worry about a mom or something cooking for me, right?
no, but we do. No, but yeah, we do our. weekly stuff where sometimes we'll say, what do we want for this week? So we'll just get the stuff and then we'll wing it by the week.
And you'll list something like, "Oh, this week I kind of want to do some wings. Can we do some wings?" Yeah,
Yeah.
and then maybe your mom's like, "You know what? I don't like wings, but you know what? For you, let's get some, right?"
Yeah, well, yep, we've done that before.
Yeah, things like that nature. That's pretty similar to like the situation here. There's probably like a societal stigma, not stigma. There is a societal pressure that the matriarch of a family has to do all of the stuff. It's just kind of like deep rooted in the system that mom is the one who's cooking every single night. Mom is the one who's going to the store. Mom is the one doing this and that and this and that. Probably even changing most of your diapers instead of your dad, right? Stuff like
Hmm.
that. But so it does sound like we share a similar meal planning sort of strategy where a lot of times it is mom. But that isn't to say that dad doesn't do any of the planning either, or say siblings too. Except in my household, the sibling doing stuff is rare. It's rare. It happens, but not a lot. How often do your siblings, or I guess you could also lump yourself into this too, but
Hmm.
how often do the children, let's just say, the children of the household do meal plans?
Mm, like, I mean, that is, I mean, not too often, but still a reasonable amount. That's, if that makes any sense.
Like if
So,
you're gonna say a pie chart with the four members of that household, like divided up into, 100.
okay, so let's say for all three of us, it would be like
All
maybe
four of you,
four. So the siblings, it would be like maybe 40%.
right? So 60 goes to your mom, and then 40 divided amongst the three of you.
Generally, yep.
Of that 40, how would you divide that, like, three ways?
Maybe me like 10%. Um, brother maybe like actually I I do a little bit more of a cook, but I also out of all the three siblings, no, sister's the one that does like more of the cooking stuff.
So of that 40, it's probably like a 20, 10, 10.
Maybe yeah. How about you? What's
So essentially, of our 100, it's pretty much like I would say like since there are five people in this house, sibling wise, I'm gonna have to say the two of them have 20%. I'm gonna say like the two of them share 20%, so maybe it's 10-10. Me, I'll probably have like, mm, I'll say 30. So 10-10 30, that's 50. And then 25% for mom, 25% for dad, right? Or maybe a little more skewed to mom because she does a little bit more of the stuff. But today, dad did the grilling, so that's pretty fine. And with meal planning, though, a lot can be said about how picky somebody could possibly be. Does pickiness ever become a factor whenever you're doing any meal planning?
it can be sometimes.
Like if mom wants to do like a broccoli and baked cod casserole, you don't like broccoli and you don't like fish, and then she's got to sprinkle it with like grated Parmesan, and then you're like, oh, three things I don't like.
Or usually something else would be made.
Right. And that's a similar sort of situation. We've been kind of talking a lot about food though lately, but I should kind of dive into like chore sort of stuff. Um, Care to dive into how your household does chores?
So sometimes I'll usually let out you know how you do like bottle returns, right?
Yeah, not all the time, but yeah,
No, but
yeah.
we don't do that here. Or sometimes if we have any recyclables, we put it in a bag on our door. Then once that bag is filled up, I usually will take the bags out, dump it in the recycle bin outside. That's just one of the chores that for our things that we do. Um, or like me and the family does rotate with like cleaning the litter box.
A litter box rotation. How often does everything rotate?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, is it a different person with the litter box every single night? Is it a
Are
different
there?
person doing the recyclables every single day? Is it a different person
Well, it's
sweeping the driveway a different day?
for the litter box. It's more rotation is in that than there is like recycle stuff. Generally, I do that. Although
So,
occasionally there will be someone else to take that role.
so again, it's mostly generally you do the same thing all the time. Generally, your sister does the same thing all the time. Generally, your mom does the same thing all the time. Generally, and so on and so forth.
But there's that. But the litter box, though, that's like really the big rotation.
Yeah, because probably one of those things that nobody wants to do. So, in fairness, we'll all do it.
Yeah. Well, you definitely need some strength to like dig out like the big chunks of cat litter, which we'll not get into specific details, but
We don't need to get there. I'm sure people know what we mean.
no, but okay, there's that, and also I do sometimes we'll take out the garbage. Either me or my brother will take out the garbage.
And that's putting it to the curb, right?
Yep, and then it's like, or like if it's recycle week, I take the recycle can to the curb. My brother takes the recycling can to the curb, and then yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, then closing something simple as closing the blinds. It varies. Sometimes like if well, mostly I get asked to close the blinds.
Laundry.
Either my mom and sister are pretty much the only ones that do laundry here.
Have you ever done it?
Very. I mean, I've helped, but I've never like done my own.
But you've never done it though.
But yeah, I mean, I've assisted before.
Brother ever do it?
Brother, not really, but I guess the only closest thing is like drying, or like fluffing out any clothes in the dryer.
Huh. Okay, I might be judging you a little bit here, but but no, honestly, like the laundry room smells nice, especially if you're using, like some fabric softeners that smell lovely, right? Um,
Definitely.
you're I'm gonna say this, you are missing out just based off of the smells. But honestly, it's
Oh,
not even that hard.
I
Like
don't.
it's not hard to do.
I don't. I don't doubt it. It's like all you're doing is like putting stuff in, like the detergent.
It's one of those. It can be new if you've never done it, but like it could take a week to get it through. Oh, this is how you do the process if it's like this, but for these, you do it a different way. But like after that week, it's pretty much second nature.
Yeah.
But no,
Like,
do you worry about things that are like folded, or do you care about folding?
I mean,
Like, does it have to be done in your house, or is it, if you want to, I mean, you can do it, but,
it's generally folded.
or is it also like, because right now I have a closet that I'm pretty much hanging 90% of the stuff that I wear is hanging right now. Um, do you hang things?
No, generally no, but if it's like event stuff or like work stuff, then
You
those
hang
are the
uniforms, you hang bathing
like
suits?
no, like well, take out the word bathing and then
The formal suits?
like stuff. Yeah,
So you will hang something like a wedding dress. You will hang something like a graduation gown. You will hang something like a work uniform, but you won't for like a regular, this is my t-shirt.
that's what a dresser is for.
Yeah, so, something like that if it works for you.
Yeah, so like that's yeah, like it may work for one person, but not for the other. It's one of those scenarios.
And that's worth talking about too. We did kind of do a little bit of meal planning, but how about the chore of like table setting or
Mm.
like mealtime chores? Is somebody the person going around with the pot of mac and cheese and scooping it on everybody's plate or something,
No,
or
usually we serve ourselves for that.
you leave things like on the stove or on like a table and then you scoop what you want to scoop.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of what buffet style kind of. Yeah.
Yep. Let's like say like we have. Let's just say it's like oh you have like hamburgers that are pan fried or steaks that are pan fried. The skillet, you just take the tongues, you put it on your plate. There you go.
That's fair enough. We mostly do the same exact sort of system. It's just, so sometimes though we will, like today we actually did this. We put everything pretty much on the table because we have a decently big table enough where it's like you can put the whole tray of most things on like a pot burner, a pot holder sort of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a heat mat. There you go, a heat mat, and
Oh,
and you could just scoop it from where you're seated. You don't need to stand up to get it.
mm, yeah.
Yeah, you ever do that one?
I don't ever recall it that way. We just stand. That's just for us. Yep. We usually just get up and get what we need.
Oh, you're always a get up and go. How about the like table setting sort of stuff? Do you worry about that, or do you just, yeah, we're not going to set the table because everybody knows where the plates are and everybody knows where the
Yep. We all
stuff
know.
is?
Generally, we all know where it is. It depends on what the meal is too.
So like more often than not, nobody's setting the table there.
Yeah. We usually. Yep. And it's also one of you know. Yep. And also, it's like we kind of assigned our own seats instead of somebody assigning it for us too.
That's true. That's the same sort of thing that happens in the classroom, right? Like it might not be assigned, but if you sit there every single day, it kind of becomes your personality.
That's just how it is.
It's a weird scenario whenever assigned seating comes to play. It's like people want to be assigned to a seat, even if they have the freedom of moving around. Somebody's always going to turn around and be like, "You're in my seat." It's not yours. It's not assigned. But people want to be assigned.
Huh. And you know what? Hey, there you go. There you go. They can sit wherever they want.
But going back to the table setting sort of stuff, more often than not, we actually do have a table setting type of thing. We will at least have, like a fork, a napkin, and a plate. Sometimes, depending on, what the sides are, what the things are, other additional stuff as well. The usual thing that isn't set ahead of time are cups, because usually people, you know, they want a specific size or they want a specific one, so we don't do that. Or if you're me, you would reuse the same cup that you used, from hours ago. You don't need to wash it every single time that you finish a drink, right?
Well, I don't know if you guys use the single-use cups.
I mean, like, solo cups,
Well, not specifically Cello, but something like that. But we
or do you
usually
mean
use
like cans and bottles?
no wait we use like plastic cups that will just if we drink something, then we'll just toss the cup in the garbage.
I might need to get like a photo from you, like what you mean, because I'm like, oh, like
It is
rinse off.
like so
No, not a
it
solo
works
cup.
it works in the same fashion as a Solo cup. How about that?
And it's styrofoam.
No, it's not. It's clear plastic.
It too is plastic. Huh? Well, regardless, you have a cup system, you have a plate system. Is it
Mm-hmm.
mostly things that are washable, or is it mostly things that you're gonna throw away?
It depends on the item too that we have. Like sometimes we'll use those plates to wash. And then
Like probably like a tomorrow, if you weren't going to your Easter area, like tomorrow, you would probably break out the ceramic ware for a fancy schmancy holiday, you know?
well, yeah, it's like also now that I'm thinking about this does raise a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Do you guys have a dishwasher at your house?
We do. I hate it.
Our household, we do not.
I despise the dishwasher.
Well, then welcome to the club.
You
um,
actually you dislike it?
no, I don't dislike. It's just, I mean, I
I
mean,
vehemently
but
dislike it.
I mean, on one end, it's like okay, it's you could just put the stuff in, but it does take away the skills just to wash. I
Like
don't.
it's not it's not that I don't like the convenience of it. It's just I think more often than not things come out still dirty. Things
Yeah.
don't exactly, and I'm not asking the machine to, wash it, dry it, rinse it, repeat 5 times. I'm not asking for that. But I'm asking for it to at least wash it. And most of the time a pasta plate would still have sauce markings and cheese clumps still stuck to it.
Hmm. It,
It's not it's likely just not a great model. It's likely just the dishwasher, just a bad one. There are people out there who swear by dishwashers. Most of this household are
yeah.
people who do. But I could go on dishwashing, because dishwashing is the one chore that I'm gonna be like, I don't I don't despise doing this. This is fine. I obviously don't like being the only one who does a lot of it, but if I have to, I mean, like, okay,
I
but
mean,
eh, but
on
it's one of those things where it's like, since I said I don't hate doing them, now it kind of means that I have a target on my back saying, "Oh, so you're the one doing them all the time now." It's like, no, I don't want to do them all the time. And then, here's this question that I have for you. My respect for you will either go up or down, or maybe stay the same depending on what your answer is.
I'm sure at the end of the day it will still stay the same, but ask anyways.
How often do you wash other people's things?
God.
And I'm not talking about laundry. I'm talking about like your mom's fork, your sister's plate, your brother's cup.
Oh,
If you use
okay.
reusable things,
If it's there, then yeah, I'll just wash it.
you
Everything.
how often are people washing your stuff?
I think. I think you might. It's like they wash. Like if I leave it there, they'll probably wash more of my stuff than I wash their stuff. But I still wash it if it's like if I have to. I'll wash it.
So you lost a little bit of respect for me.
No,
Yeah,
but
I mean, because the situation here is you okay. Usually the parents are okay. The parents are great with this. Mom and dad do things. They actually wash their stuff. But more often than not, I'm kind of hushing my voice a little bit because I don't want to be too loud with this one. More often than not, my brothers are conveniently forgetting that they used a dish or conveniently leaving it in the sink or on the side of the sink or something. And I just cave in and do it. I do I do way more of their stuff than they've ever done of my stuff. And more often than not, I have the system of, well, I'll wash the things that I use. You should wash the things that you use. But more often than not, the things that they used, they don't get to until like freaking weeks from now. So
okay.
I don't want mice to be in our sink. I don't want that to happen.
Compared to, I guess, well, I think compared to your place, like at least I get to like eventually washing.
Oh, they do too, eventually. And by the way, the way that this also grinds my gears. So you know what? I'm gonna
Or actually, okay, so remember back in the whole taste trades, like okay, I wash stuff as I go because I
wash
don't
that.
want,
Okay, that's
or
cool.
when I cook stuff, okay, go ahead.
But I was actually kind of wanting to ask about how it is that you do your sink washing. Do you clean the side, like clean the basin so then you have a fresh like a fresh walls, right? Your sink is pristine, so then you can fill up the water and soap. Do you make it sudsy? Do
We
you have a bath, or do you not make a bath and just have it hovering?
No, we don't do the bath. We
You
just
don't do the bath.
put the like the very heavy like Dawn soap on the sponge. I scrub the whole entire plate, and then I rinse it off. Next thing, wash the forks, and then once I'm done with that, then I just like squeeze out the entire soap out of the sponge.
So you never make a bath.
No,
Here's another thing actually. Speaking of sinks, do you have I mean, I was over there, but I wasn't paying attention to your sinks. Do you have just one side to a sink, right? Or do you have like two sections?
we so we have two separate. There's two sinks next to each other.
Yeah,
Like
two like drainage holes, right?
yeah, so like yeah, one that's ones that's for the main sink and stuff where we wash the dishes, and then the other side's where we got there's like the thing we put in their sink, and then it holds the clean dishes and forks.
Yeah, the drying side.
Yeah, that's the
Usually people have, a washing and a drying side. Yeah. We're sort of the same situation. It's just our drying side is a little bit smaller. So we have like a little mat that goes on next to the drying side
mm-hmm.
for additional things because we have the space to do that. But going back a little bit to like mealtime and eating stuff, um, maybe we could talk about individual eating habits. Maybe do you all have like this is the mealtime? If you miss it, you're eating on your own, or is it Yeah, you could come whenever you want. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave the stuff out until 8 o'clock, and now it's cleaned up.
So we're all eating together. So we all
You mostly have like a together time. It's not something
yeah.
where it's like what happens if somebody came after everyone else is, pretty much starting the cleanup process. Let's say your sister was out at the library and the three remaining people just finished their meal, and that's when your sister walks in. Would she then just eat something that was right there?
Say she comes home from something, then like if it's out there still, she can serve herself.
And would the cleanup process stop because, oh well, she's probably not done yet?
Or I don't know. It depends on, of course.
Or do you ever do the stuff where it's like, okay, I'm gonna put away 80% of what is left over. The 20% I will leave out, so then let's see if the sister can grab it and heat it up or something.
Or let's say we save it, but then it's like, oh, it's in the fridge. If you want to heat it up, you can.
So you'll do things like that. Okay, that's pretty similar, but most of the time, if somebody misses the meal, it's not going to stop us from cleaning up. It's gonna be, it's gonna be cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
of course,
it will be, put in a refrigerator for, well, one of the refrigerators, because we have two.
fancy.
How many you have?
We just have one.
So you have to be a little bit more selective when it comes to what you can keep, what you don't keep, what's tiny enough that should just be thrown away. Or see, we have two, and that's pretty much why we always visit like the wholesaler, like every week.
Is your fridge like? There are two doors. Like one's got the ice maker, and one's just the regular fridge.
Yeah. So one of them, I'll just say what colors they are. Let's call this one the silver fridge because it's mostly silver. Our silver one does have an ice maker. It does have a freezer and a refrigerator section. It's divided vertically, so you open the freezer on the left and the refrigerator on the right. But the other one, our black combo, let's call it, our black appliance, has a top and bottom one, where the top is the freezer and it's not as big as the refrigerator part. I would say like 2, and I'm talking about the height of it, 2 feet of it maybe is the freezer, and then like the remaining 4 feet is like the refrigerator part. So, like, if that paints a picture.
Kinda. I'm sure.
So,
I'm sure I'll revisit this podcast episode on my own time. I'll probably hear it again, but
and you might be able to even see the refrigerator at its specific point. I don't know.
I'm sure in your Pizza Pals thing, it might be in the background.
I know for certain I have opened both of them for it. I don't know if I kept them in, but I definitely recorded both of them.
But yes, ours is just your typical fridge. It's got the freezer up top, and then it's got the main attraction, the fridge.
Hmm. So yours is also a. Oh well, I mean, yours is also a freezer on top and fridge on the bottom type of deal. Yeah. You have an ice maker, or is it an ice tray?
We have an ice tray, but not an ice maker.
Ice tray where
I would like.
you'll shove the ice tray with some water in it and hopefully not spill all over the place because you dropped it.
That'd be a big oopsie, but I do want to get one of those actual like ice makers that you can just plug in and fill it with water, and then ice just comes like drop in on one side. Like you can get like an external one.
But
But
speaking, so yeah, my refrigerator process though is, well, we also have a we have a, I wouldn't call it a blast freezer, but like a better freezer that's also like downstairs. So we have like three appliances for food storage, I would say.
so
Plus, we also have cabinets and stuff like that for non-perishables. But so we have, in most circumstances, enough space for weekly leftover containers to be put in there.
like Tupperware.
Oh yeah, we Tupperwares, Rubbermaids, even takeout containers, which sometimes uh, I've I've made, different things and given it to you physically in person because, it's a takeout container, so they could have been thrown away from the start, but they're plastic, they're good containers. Like you could use them again. In most cases, I mean, I'm not talking about like the styrofoam ones or the paper boxes from Chinese takeout. I'm just talking about like the plastic containers that they give you.
Yeah.
Just like I made that spicy thing for you and then I think last time I gave you the bread in it.
Is
Or
this
no,
when...
chili. It was the chili. I gave you the chili in
Oh,
that.
and then I was like trying to chew and swallow the bread.
The bread was tough. The bread was tough. But this is a good segue to go on to Taste Trades, our recurring recipe trading segment, where we just trade each other's recipes. Last time, I introduced a Taste Trade Chopped edition, in which we're technically not done. And we won't be this episode either. We'll need one more go at it, because I did some different calculations last time than I did this time, and this time I realized, no, we actually have two different recipes going on.
So we're only halfway done, right?
Yes, essentially. We'll get 25% more done today, or this episode.
Yippee.
So, since I don't want to keep you too long, we could summarize in short what ended up happening the first time. So, essentially, the Taste Trades idea for Chopped was the three of us thought of three ingredients. We both did something with those, and then we gave each other what we thought for ingredients. So, and then we made something based off of that. Today, we are going to be making one of the things that was mentioned last time. The thing that Dom made with my ingredients, I'm going to be making. The thing that I made with Dom's ingredients, he's going to be making. So, let's review what the things that each other made with each other's ingredients. So using Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, pork cutlets, and blueberries, Dom did a chops and shakes dinner, which essentially was just a blueberry and cinnamon toast crunch, like milkshake sort of deal, and just some pork chops on the side.
Yep. Like, my original idea was going to be like a TV dinner style thing, which in this case it kind of is kind of like a TV dinner, except without the corn and the like and the other vegetables and dessert.
Well, kind of. I mean, you technically could have said serve it with that. You didn't say that, so the only thing that I'm going to be making is what you said to make.
Yeah, but
and what is it that you will be making with my ingredients? Or with your ingredients, rather. I'm already forgetting how this works.
So, some Mediterranean ground chicken patties served with tzatziki or tahini sauce.
So, as always, we'll be coming back whenever both of us made the dish to discuss what we thought of it. See you then.
Yep, we'll see you in a few seconds, but for us it will be a week.
Or longer. And we're back. Now a week has passed. We both have procured the stuff that we used to make each other's thing, which was pretty easy this time because I already knew the ingredients I was supposed to get because I originally listed them in the first place. Same deal with him.
Yep.
He knew to get flour. He knew to get sun-dried tomatoes. He knew to get, what was the third thing? Ground chicken, right?
Yep, ground chicken.
Yeah. For a second, I didn't even know if we were able to do this today because we were like, ground chicken, I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to get that.
Oh, well, but then it's like while I was busy Friday, it's like my mom did the little grocery shop, and she actually did pick up some ground chicken. So I was like, oh, we can now finally record tonight.
Yeah, I was literally thinking it would need to take another week
Oh,
because
no.
every single moment you were like, no, we can't do it today. I'm missing this. Oh no,
But
I'm missing this. Oh no.
it ain't gonna be a week. It's gonna be a day.
Well, regardless, we're here with this. Well, let's just get started. He pretty much used my ingredients to make a chops and shakes sort of dinner, right? It's just essentially 2 of the cutlets that were pan fried with choice seasonings, which yeah, I just kind of did like a salt and pepper sort of thing. I didn't do fancy because I just wanted to get the thing done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
regardless, I guess I could have gone fancy with it because of the fact that it took Tom 5 months to get the ingredients together, right? No.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, but yeah, so you did just like a salt and pepper thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the dried asparagus had nothing to do with it.
I only put like paprika in mine for kind of the color.
Yeah, whenever you made this,
Yeah, when I did it, yeah, put a little extra other seasonings in there, but to give it a little bit of a color, and yeah, I learned not to use the food processor any like I specified prior to making his dish, but I was like, well, still a good shake. It could be a little bit better.
you say that, but
I ended up
I
not
followed
doing
it
it.
exactly how it was, right?
No, you did.
I
I know,
did
but
exactly as
that's
written,
just. I heard you did exactly as I
regardless
told you.
regardless if it ended up being a mistake on your end, which I have to make it the way you wrote it.
No, but see, you did it. So then, yeah, you did it correctly then.
I did exactly that. The blueberries and the cinnamon toast crunch was a nice, like I finally got what you were saying before, right? But it wasn't a bad combination, you know? I mean, you already have like it's not too far out of left field, right? It's been done before, cinnamon and blueberries, right? Like you've had blueberry pancakes with cinnamon dusted on top of it. That's not unique. But the idea of having both of them being a smoothie, being a milkshake rather, because technically it didn't have yogurt in it, so it's not really a smoothie, I don't
I
think.
did. I made it just a milkshake.
But that was not terrible. That wasn't, I would even go as far as saying that was nice. It was a nice little thing. It kind of reminded me of a like going to a mom and pop diner with like your folks or something, and you get like the pork chops on the table, and then because you're a 6-year-old toddler, right? Like you also get like a little milkshake or something on the side. That was nice.
Hmm.
Like it invoked like some diners, some like shacky diners, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like those just mom and pop places, like where they have their own special shake or their own special smoothie that you can only get there because it's that person's recipe. There is
And
no
it's
protocol.
nice. It straight up was nice. Now, in terms of, effort being put into it, the hardest part was probably not getting splashed by the oil, but
Mm,
really that's expected whenever you're doing something pan fried like this. Um, but
yeah.
but seriously, your your idea, though not really revolutionary, is nice. You played it safe with this, and I could give you a clap and a half with this one. Um,
Mm. Did
so
it spark an interest in just the local diners?
honestly, hey, maybe we pitch this idea to the local diners, right? We're like,
Totally.
do these milkshakes or whatever, right? I don't
But
know
that
about that, but regardless, it is a pleasant experience. Now, for viewers or listeners who don't already know about our taste trade segment, we typically then will also turn around and say, oh, whether we enjoyed it out of a scale of 1 to 10, whether we liked making it, because, making it and tasting it are different things entirely. Um, but what was another criteria that we had before? Um,
mm, would we make this
would we make
again?
it again? Yeah. Those three are our typical criterias. Of course, sometimes we would go and add on additional ones, but uh, that's a little recap just in case y'all needed to hear this. But starting with the overall process of making it, once again, this has nothing to do with the flavor, but the overall process of making it. One being, terrible, terrible, like it was hard or whatever, and then 10 being slice of cake or something, right? So essentially, the enjoyability that I would have is a nice 7. It was nice. It wasn't, offensive. It wasn't bad. It wasn't hard. It wasn't that bad. It was just in the middle on enjoyability of making it. All it was frying some things, shielding your arms from getting dusted in hot oils. Um, but it's not a 5 because of the fact that, oh, blending things is interesting, especially whenever I didn't think that it was going to act like this. I did not think that the texture would turn out the way it was. Um, Obviously, you did say one handful of cinnamon toast crunch, one handful of blueberries, which uh, I don't know if our hands are different sizes, but 1 cup of milk with one handful, I don't, I don't know. Maybe I didn't have the same, maybe I didn't have the same thing as you.
Well, I'm sure our hands are different sizes.
But like, so the ratio is probably a little bit off. So maybe my what do you call it? Maybe my shake was a little different than your shake because of that fact. But um, moving on to actually enjoying the flavor, right? On taste enjoyment, my ranking would have to be another 7. It wasn't astronomical, but it wasn't offensive, right? It was safe. I think for me, if I'm ranking something 5, 6, or 7, I would have to say like that's middle of the road sort of deal. That's like safe. If it's 1, then oh, you and I have some discussions to be had. But 7
Um,
and 7 for that.
Would you, though, make this again?
I feel like I would. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not unique in terms of it's just a fried pork cutlet with whatever seasoning that you want. But the idea of the milkshake was interesting, and
Yeah.
that I would do again.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool, though. So, so
Turning the
glad you.
table, turning the tables on its side. How about you? Would you explain every process about my thing?
Of course. So you did Mediterranean chicken patties served with, well, yeah, served with like tzatziki or tahini sauce on like pita bread, right? So, um, I'm gonna explain a little bit like prior to actually making the product. So, I had some of the ingredients to make the tahini sauce, but then ultimately today I ended up getting already the tahini paste to then make the sauce again, so I ended up scrapping my homemade version.
What?
So it's like if I'm already there, it's like okay. Then I did get one of the last remaining ingredients today.
Did you before going on? Because if there's something about me that you need to know right now, I don't like food waste. What did you do with it?
I just poured it in the trash and then I just washed out the.
Oh, yeah. At least did you like try it?
I tried it.
You tried like a finger licking or something, right?
I did a little bit of finger licking. Very
What did that taste like?
well. It tasted like sesame oil with sesame seeds in it, and then a little bit of lemon mix.
Okay, okay.
But it
Now,
wasn't. It's not even the right consistency to be a sauce. That's the problem.
so you couldn't have taken what you made and combine it with the tahini paste, so then the
I
paste gets like thinned out by the thing that you. Whatever.
so what I did. So what I
I just
did.
don't like wasting perfectly great
I
things. That's all.
well, this isn't perfect. I can guarantee you that.
Well, great enough things. I don't like wasting.
Okay, but I did end up though mixing the paste with a little lemon juice and then a little minced. I minced up the garlic, and then I put mixed mixed water and salt together, and then put it in there. And it turned out to be a good sauce. I could have maybe put a little bit more lemon juice to even out the chicken. Which, speaking of the chicken, let's dive into that. Let's dive into the barn. So, yep, I did the. So, actually, before I talk about the chicken, I combined the ingredients as stated in the recipe: the coriander, garlic, cinnamon, all that jazz. So then I took the chicken, put the whole pound in there, and then mixed it up with my hands. And then after I mixed it up, I portioned it, made 5 of them. Um, and then I used the rest of the olive oil, which honestly I could have used less, but kind of wanted to emulate using a deep fryer, which I still want to use. Um, so then before I put them in the fryer, or no, really on the stovetop, I just put a little more flour, coated it a bit more, and then I put the patties in the fryer, or again, stovetop pan. So I think I might have it cooked well on both sides. I had to flip them over, cook them for 6 minutes on each
Nice.
side. So after that, I put them on a paper towel, and then about the whole sauce thing, I actually did that after I finish the patties. So I kind of did what I remember the recipe being for making that sauce.
What you remember it being?
And okay,
Were you looking at it when you were making it?
no, okay, so then I had to pull back out. Actually, so okay, that was a lie. I pulled out the recipe again for the tahini sauce. No, but I did it as it told me to make it. So it was a success. My sister thought it was good, although she would recommend a little more lemon juice in there as well. So it was not bad. I got the mix of I could taste a hint of the cinnamon. Like the cinnamon really stands out, and then I could also taste the other ingredients in there.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you're talking about cinnamon? You're talking about pork? No, like no.
No, but as for the chicken, though, it was pretty good. I could taste the cinnamon. I could taste a bit of the cumin, but all the other stuff is just in there. I cannot really taste it, but the chicken was not bad. I put it on a pita bread, as stated on the recipe. Well, I did a spoonful of the tahini sauce and then just kind of put it and I just ate it like that. I had like 2.5 servings of that product. I would say, hey, you know what? It's kind of stepping out of the comfort zone for me. But as for the whole experience of making it, it's about up there on the same skill level as making the Sonic breakfast burrito in terms of like mixing ingredients together.
This time not with homemade burrito shells, right?
This time I used pre-made pita bread.
I could have made you make it, but no.
Yeah, but so if anyone doesn't remember the skill level, revisit that episode of the, let's see, Battle of Fast Food, to be specific. But I would say the experience, it was, like I said, about that same level as that, because there was a lot I had to do.
It was also new information with some of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just you've done something similar last week, so like this one's gonna be just as easy, right? Like you did have some interesting new things with it.
Mm-hmm. Like the taste, I would give it a 7.5. I liked it.
It's on the high end, all right.
7.5. As
Nice.
for would I make this again?
Would you make this again? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind making this again if I'm doing a event, then have people serve themselves to some Mediterranean patties with the pita bread and sauce.
All right. Now, so something else. Since both of us had it differently. I had with tzatziki sauce, and you had with tahini sauce. Those are different things.
Yes.
I would be curious in testing it out personally on my end with tahini, and on your end with tzatziki. Would you be down to having with tzatziki sauce another time, or?
So if I were to make this again, I would probably have 2 sauces kind of just in the bowls for people to then scoop into their own patties.
Yeah, I think so. But then who knows? Maybe someone's adventurous enough to have both of them in there, right, at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Overall, though, it sounds like we did a decent thing with this one, though. Both of us enjoyed the process enough. It wasn't too hard. It wasn't too easy. And both of us enjoyed the flavors overall.
Yeah, I
That was
really
nice.
enjoyed it.
And
Per-
both of us said, yeah, we'll make it again. Why not?
Why not? Perfect.
So before moving on to the rest of it, we, since this is the chopped taste trades part two, I guess, we will be doing one more with the same ingredients at a future time. We're not going to bore you with the details right now. We're going to be wrapping up the chopped taste trades one of the next times that we do something.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, the next time we do a taste trade will be the last step of this three-part wheel, I guess. We'll have that coming to you another time. We have no idea when. This leads me to another thing, and that would be things like decision making. As a whole, you know that decision making is something that is typically done in a household, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would think that, I would hope that decisions are being made in any household, but regardless, some households have a patriarchal, matriarchal sort of ruling where some families have the one singular parent deciding every single thing. Usually it's like, oh, since dad's the breadwinner, mom is the one doing everything to make the dad happy, right? So if dad says we're painting the walls blue, guess what? We're painting the walls blue. No, the end of story. Right there, cut and dry. And sometimes it's the other way around too, where mom is the one making every single decision. If you have a haircut at 7 p.m., you have one at 7 p.m., right? Um, Now, typically, the parents are kind of in a ruling together, right? A king and queen sort of process where
Ideally,
it
yep.
doesn't matter who it is, but if a parent says this is the ruling, well, guess what? This is the ruling. That's probably what most of the households are like all throughout
Yeah.
the world, whether it's one parent making everything or both parents pretty much evenly making every decision.
Yep. I mean, this kind of ties back into the also chores. Like,
Right.
both parents are like, come on, kids, help me and your mom, like, gather all the logs so we can, like, do, like, the campfire or something like that.
Or sometimes when it might be, okay, do the thing you're most comfortable with, but we got to make this campfire. So someone's making the tent, someone's starting the fire, someone's collecting the wood, and someone's, I don't know, fishing for the fish meal, right?
Yeah, like,
Whatever.
if both the parents and the kids can work together, then, yeah, that sounds like a great situation.
Because typically in like survival situations, communication is key. And sometimes you need that one person kind of managing everybody and saying, okay, you're the best at this, you do this, you'll get it done quickly. So then you're not freezing your butts off outside in the wilderness, right? But we don't have to do a camping or survival episode, not yet anyway. But that is a great uh, topic of interest when it comes to decision making because in the wild or in a group like that, doesn't even have to be in the wild, maybe like in a store, somebody needs to make the shots. Who's going to make those shots if there's no like manager or if there's no person saying you're great at this, you do this. You're great at this, you do this. And then everybody's happy because everybody's great at it or whatever, right? The ship can remain afloat, right?
Can only remain afloat.
Some households have like a democratic process where everybody, let's say there are four people in the household, everybody has 25% of the say. And maybe sometimes with some certain things, maybe that is a little bit skewed to something else. Like, who knows? Maybe whenever it has anything to do with construction, maybe the parent has 100% of the say, right? Because little Susie, who's like 4 years old, should not be the one making the call of we're
Ideally,
gonna bulldoze this half of the house, right?
With what, my little Tykes bulldozer?
Uh, actually, Susie is a forklift certified.
Certified by Play School.
No, play school is for 3-year-olds, man. This is the real world with 4-year-olds. Who
You're already.
4-year-olds making all the shots, right?
Yep. Now I got your big boy underpants and got your bulldozer.
With most of it, our household kind of falls under the mostly like a patriarchal but mostly democratic sort of process too. Because I can, out of nowhere, if I just felt like it, most of the time I could be like, oh, sure, I'll make a bread because I want to make a bread right now. That gets vetoed though if it's like 3 a.m. and mom's like, we don't need to do bread at 3 a.m. Go to bed.
Mm.
So some certain situations can be overruled. Um,
Mm. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. But how is it? How about I have a question for you then? How is it like? So you're talking about 3 a.m. So you're talking about going to bed, but how is it for you? Like, how long were you allowed to stay up for as a child versus high school versus now?
so allowed and could get away with are completely different things. Allowed, I had like a curfew of like 10 p.m. was like what the parents did not want to see me up past, right? That was my limit of what they wanted. Of course, I'm not unique in this. I'm sure you've done this. I'm sure your sister has. I'm sure somebody listening to this might have done this. But where under the covers with a light, I might be reading a book at 11, or I might be playing a DS game at 12, right? Just different things. You can get away with staying up a little bit later just because, oh, you're in your bedroom and, oh, you're being silent, right? So 10 o'clock was what my limit was supposed to be, pretty much until I would say, until I turned maybe 18.
So this is not that long ago then.
This wouldn't be terrible. Like 17, 18 was like the moment where it's like, okay, sure, you could, we'll give you until 12 this time because, you know, the midnight ball drop for New Year's Eve is sometimes like, oh, it's cool, right? So go ahead. 12 is now your limit. But ever since I would say like graduation and after that, since I didn't have really a lot of homework to do since I was already graduated, right? That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have class if you don't have class, right?
Of course, you don't have class if you don't have homework. If you don't
So
have homework, you don't have class.
modern day, like right now, and I would say maybe like 2 years ago too, right? Well, actually, maybe ever since the big C, right? The C virus. Yeah. Since that time, since like the 2020 era, I would probably do the thing where I'm staying up until maybe twos and threes. Threes mostly the latest that I would ever do something. How about like on your end? Did you have like a set in stone like curfew sort of deal where you
Um,
couldn't be outside past this time, or was it like a bedtime for you or
mm,
something?
for I remember when I was a kid in like elementary school, I remember the bedtime being, I would say, 9 o'clock
Yeah,
for
that
me.
sounds right.
But I mean, no one's stopping you if you have to get up to use the bathroom.
True. No, it's like no, you're holding it in until 6 a.m.
No,
You're
but
holding it in.
Yep, for that it was like that for a while, and then a couple of years later, it would be 10 o'clock.
And so a kind of gradual leaning into it, because I know that sometimes you are in a text group, maybe talking about a certain lettuce egg thing at 1:40 a.m.,
I
right?
remember. Yep, I like.
Hey, shout out to Skipper, right? Because he's the one who started that.
But yeah, yep. So, I mean, as adults now, we can now decide like how long we want to stay up for. But
Typically, yes, but there's probably also some moments where it's like you might be like, "Oh, it's 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? Just go to bed already," right? So you might still you'd still like listen to your parent, right? Be like, "Oh, okay, it is late. Let me try to wrap this thing up, or let me go to
or
bed."
or if you have, say, you have plans with family the next day, like you don't want to stay up till 5 a.m.
That's part of it too. That could be part of it. You got other things the next day, but um,
But even then, it's like lately I've been valuing my sleep.
and that is a decision-making process that you could have. Speaking of which, there are families that will do like a consultative decision making, where it's like they'll seek input from every member before making decisions, right? Not necessarily a democratic process where it's like you have a vote, right? Where it's like, oh, I want to go to the Bahamas, but I'm the only one who voted on that, so guess we're going to Paris instead, right? Just something, right? But
Well,
a consultative decision making process would end up being, oh, let's see, you don't want to go to Paris, you want to go to Niagara Falls. Let's see, but I want to go to Bahamas, which Bahamas has some nice French cuisine in it, but it also gives you the Niagara Falls types of views. So maybe the Bahamas would have something for everybody. That's just an example right there, but
yeah,
vacations are something that's typically like that.
but it also is like what is cheaper to go to? What place is cheaper, Bahamas or Niagara Falls? It also depends on the airline you take.
Well, this is assuming that the price tag is not an option, but that is obviously a factor in most people's um, decision making processes, right? Price is obviously an important thing when making decisions, but pretending it's not and just I want to go somewhere that's cold for a skiing trip. You want to go somewhere that's beachy and warm. Let's see, maybe California because you can go on top of like a mountain for like a nice ski range in the same day or in the same few days as going to a beach in California, right? Like same sort of moment. So let's go to California together, right? Like that sort of deal. Where it's not something where, well, I really want the cold, and guess what? The Bahamas is not going to be cold, or let me say this, cold enough to have a snowy mountain for a ski trip, right? And then
Yeah,
maybe you really don't want to do any skiing or anything like that, so you need it to be warm. So guess what? California is a great place to do something like that because you could do both of them in a decent amount of time. Um,
mm.
Once again, I'm pretending that money is not a factor, but that's
But
just an example too, right?
like,
For like
yep,
vacations, if we had DJ trips, right?
like if
And a consultative decision making would end up being, well, you want to go somewhere that's very hot, but I don't want to do that. Let's go somewhere that's in the middle. And so you'd make decisions based off of what a little bit of everybody would be mostly fine with.
Yeah. If I were to go to California, I would just want to try out In-N-Out Burger, but
Oh, Jesus.
but again, that's like if I can go to California. But I don't know. It's like I guess in
Life
terms of
is
vacations, like it has to be based on whatever. We probably will do things based on what everyone wants to go. But
so you with vacationing, you have a consultative decision making where everybody's going to be mostly happy with it, right?
yeah, but
You're never going to go somewhere where only you want to go,
mhm,
and
yeah,
the rest of the people going on the trip are going to be bummers the whole time because I didn't want to go here.
yeah, but
Like
that's a
maybe you wanted to see the world's biggest rubber band ball, and everybody else does not want to go.
if anything, they where I want to see the Chicago Bean, or yeah, whatever, wherever it is.
I think that's a Chicago thing. The mirror bean, right? The
Yeah,
reflective surface.
yep.
I think, yeah.
It's like they probably want to see that while you're going to. Well, I want to go to the mall.
Oh, true. I think Mall America's, I think there.
Hmm. But
Regardless, sometimes you have like a delegated decision making where the responsibilities can be delegated based on expertise or maybe interest. Like maybe you really like doing I'm just gonna make it up, but the dishes, right? You, out of everybody in the household, you don't mind doing them. So guess what? You're gonna do them all the time since you don't mind doing it. And then let's say somebody else is the person who's always cooking because they don't mind doing that.
or
Or
they,
maybe they are like already a professional at doing it. So they'll just do it again and again and again because
yep,
they're the best at doing it.
yeah,
It's
because
either you like doing it the most or you are physically the best at doing something.
if you're a
And so
Michelin
some
star
people will get
chef,
delegated.
like if you're a Michelin star chef, how could you not love cooking?
That would be an example of things like that, though, right?
Hmm.
Like a decision that's made based off of you are the one who either likes doing it the most or you are the one who's the most skilled at it. So, like, we'll use the campfire, the campground thing again. If you are the least responsible with a sharp item, you are staying far away from making any of the firewood cuts, right? We'll trust that with someone who's been cutting things, who's responsible with a blade,
Hmm.
all of that stuff, right? We'll delegate it to who's more suitable. Maybe you love fishing, but you're not good at it. Well, we'll still put you on the fishing because you like doing it.
Hey, I've fished before.
Well,
I like it,
that's that's not the point, but like
but I'm saying, how about it's like it's one of those things where what if you are fishing it because you liked it, or he's fishing for like if you want food?
I mean that's something else. Sometimes if you are in a life and death situation, you're putting the person who will catch fish, not somebody who likes doing it, somebody who will
Hmm.
catch, right? Just like if you really needed something, you're putting the person who can climb for for a coconut on the coconut tree. You're putting the person who can climb into the climbing position, not the person who likes to climb but is bad at it, right? Like, but certain things
Yeah.
like that, where somebody will be like, "You're the best at this," or "You like this the most." You do it.
Hmm.
We hate it. We're not gonna do it. We're bad at it. We're not gonna do it. But you're great at it, or you like it, so you could do it. Of course,
Hmm.
sometimes some families have the shared decision making where the decision making involves every family member to contribute equally to major decisions. This would kind of give a sense of collective responsibility and a little bit of unity. So then, it's not something where only me is making every single decision ever. You can do, you have equal reign. You and your sister could one day just say, you know what? We're having a we're having a fire in the fire pit today. And you could do that. If it's in the world of shared decision making, you and your sister can just say, screw it. We'll do a fire right now. Sure.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's.
this. Let's do it. Why
Perfect.
not?
I'm gonna get at least I'll collect the wood while you do this and that.
Oh, so you're introducing delegation and shared. Oh, you're mixing things up here.
Sure.
You're putting all the decisions in a pot.
Yeah, or in this case, the pit here where the fire's gonna be.
Decision pit pie, right?
Yeah, but if you ever been to of course you have, but you've probably seen the fire pit we have. But that's
Yeah, you got a little tiny one, little. It's a
but
it's decent. It's a grower.
but for us at home, it's like what we did is pretty much we are all the ones grabbing, collecting like sticks to then light up the fire.
Because it's quick, right? It's
Yeah,
quicker
because
whenever everybody's doing a little bit of something.
the same thing, like all of us are gonna find some sticks to then burn off.
Like, imagine the camping scenario again, but imagine it with, let's say, you have Buck, right? Buck is there. He's
Sure.
survivalist. Buck knows every sort of thing. He could climb, he could fish, he could do everything, and he's great at it. Every single thing. But everybody who's with Buck is just terrible at everything.
Mm-hmm. And then Buck's probably like, "Come on, what are you guys doing? We're a team."
Well, since Buck has the I guess professionalism, he might delegate people to be like, you know what? You three can go wood collecting. That's all you need to do. Just bring all of this and just plop it right here. So then it's at least closer. And you know what? I will go with Buck and Nancy will go to the river for foraging, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe something like that.
Like
Where
Buck's like the
where
one,
he's the only one who's great at everything,
so he's like the leader essentially of the house.
and so he could be the leader of that campground. But as a leader, you can't do absolutely everything
No.
because then the leader is going to get tired. And then everybody else who's there is terrible at everything, so they can't do anything. And Buck can't do anything because he's done for the count.
He's probably already like spent 15 hours collecting all the wood. So now he's like all worn out. It's like, you guys do it, even though you guys can't do it.
So, like different scenarios, maybe Buck will be like, okay, you might be a smart person, right? You might be numbers wise, but this is the wild. This doesn't mean that I don't think you're smart, but you have to just pick up sticks for me, because you're not a great fisher, you're not a great forager, you don't climb, so we'll put your hands to use somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Obviously, in most situations, if you're going on a camping trip, you're good at something related
I would hope
to
so.
survivalism. But this is the extreme case of Buck and let's just say people who know nothing, who
Yeah,
can only do the things that are very, very simple. Like pick up sticks and
Nobody's
put them in the pit.
bucking all the nobodies.
Yeah, but regardless, decision making is something that is to be done in every sort of scenario, whether it's the household, whether it's a company, whether it's a surviving camping trip, right? You
Yeah,
have to make decisions because decisions are to be done. I guess technically you don't have to make decisions, but well, I guess at that point it's everybody to themselves, right?
of course.
So I want to kind of segue into a little bit. Now, unfortunately, in some households, sometimes it starts with, let's say, a few members, and maybe it gets split up into two equal parties, or maybe there are five people to begin with, and then oh, one of them is now 6 feet under, or some situations like that. Obviously, sometimes you might start with a patriarchal, matriarchal ruling, and one of the earchs are gone now, whether it's through divorce or whether it's through passing away. But different things like that do impact how families do certain things, whether it's a chore, whether it's decision making.
I mean, yep, there's people that are like doing certain chores at the house that can change. Now, oh, this person's not here. Now you have to fill in that gap.
Right. And of course, sometimes it has nothing to do with a separation. Sometimes it is just natural causes where somebody's no longer in the picture. And that happens too. Like, I can imagine maybe you have a patriarchal society. Well, not society, but patriarchal ruling in your household. But if the patriarch has fallen, who's next? Like, who decides? Is it chaos because the one decision maker is gone and is not coming back?
Well, somebody has to be the decision maker now.
So it's almost like someone decides, you know what, now's my time. I nominate myself or whatever, right? Like, I'm the decision maker now.
But yeah,
Or I'm the chore doer. Like, someone has to grill.
yeah, like somebody's got to, unfortunately, yeah, like someone's got to cook, someone's got to then grill the burgers, you know.
Right. Like,
Yep.
divorce can significantly alter the family dynamic
Yep.
and the decision making and chores and stuff like that. Every process involved, particularly in terms of shared custody arrangements and the relevation, and the reevaluation of traditional roles. Like, some households start off with the, you know, equal parenting, right? Or something like, you know what, dad's going to do everything outside and mom's going to do everything with the children, right? That's a traditional, more so approach to things. For the sake of argument, I'm saying that is the family, right? But a divorce would make it so. Well, guess what? The dad has to do the outside stuff and some children stuff every now and then. Or maybe they'll get a nanny or something now, or some, whatever. There are a million factors outside of that. But in typical situations, both parents have to step up to do what the other one isn't doing now because they're not in the same location anymore.
Of course. Well, it's like, you still want to visit your parent, like whether it's a mom or a dad. I mean, there's still going to be parents. Like, one has to drop their kid off at school. I don't like whether it's like, I don't know. Like, oh, mom's going to work, so dad's going to come pick you up and drop you off at school. I'm just giving an example.
Right, obviously. And then sometimes with that comes maybe, you know what, the divorced mom is giving all of the rights to the dad and is just moving away to, I don't know, Bermuda,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now they're just gone out of the picture, and it's almost as if they passed away, but they don't want anything to do with anything, right?
Mm.
So sometimes that happens too, where and maybe it's not a death, but maybe it's they're just not part of the picture anymore, and it is just in this situation the father doing everything. Maybe this doesn't mean that he doesn't meet somebody new and is like, you know what? Now we have someone to lighten my load a little bit. Whether it's a nanny, whether it's another significant other, or whether it's somebody else, something else.
Maybe.
Different chores and decisions are
But
altered.
yep, chores can be done like in both places. Whether you're like, oh, I don't know, like if you're at your dad's, he might ask you to do like maybe help clean out the grill so then you can make burgers. Or if you're at home with your mom, she'll ask you to like help make like the pizza dough.
Well, regardless, different events are likely to change a certain way that things happen. Um, Whenever you were saying like co-parenting sort of things, right? Effective co-parenting post-divorce may involve joint decision-making regarding the children's upbringing and welfare. Stuff like, I'm gonna drop them off at the daycare, and you can pick them up because I am going to be busy at the at that point. Oh, okay, sure, we could do that. So it's not necessarily like you're out of the picture anymore. You're still conversing, but well, at least in a healthy divorce, you're still talking to try to get stuff done. But just because that's ideal doesn't mean that's always the case. Um,
Well, it's just generally not every situation,
but still, some conflict or breakdown in communication can lead to challenges in
of course.
decision making. Maybe even something. I know divorce is one of those not really a funny situation all the time, but there could be some funny things that happen as a result. Like maybe somebody is grounded, but the mom forgot to share this with the dad. So, oh, you want to go over for some ice cream? Great, cool. Are you grounded? No, I'm not. I'm not grounded. Okay, that's cool. Let's go for it. Right?
Yeah, it's like, what do you expect? The kid's not gonna want to tell dad that, oh, he got grounded for breaking the pots and pans.
I'm sure not every single time, right? Like sometimes I'm sure they communicate and say, you know, your kid is grounded, right? But sometimes I'm sure it's been forgotten. It's
Maybe.
like, oh, I didn't tell them that I was grounding you. Okay. Oh no.
Yeah, but
You had ice cream with them, but you were grounded.
what are the odds of that happening, though?
In blended families, though, resulting from divorce and remarriage, decision making can become more complex, requiring negotiation and compromise among multiple parental figures. In some events where it's like both parents got remarried, guess what? You kind of have four parents, kind of.
Kinda.
And so is one of the step parents just hands off? Like, you're a person, you're not my person, so you do what you do. Or is
Well,
it everybody's trying to actually be there for the different scenarios, different things? I'm sure every possibility has happened before.
hmm
But all of this is to say that certain events can happen that make decision making and make chores and make all of these different things that we do harder and different. Maybe easier, who knows? Because maybe instead of worrying about getting getting my wife a birthday present, all I need to do is get my kid a birthday present, right? Like just
of
something
course.
like that, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but obviously, that's the. It's weird to say this, but that's the better outcome. The worst outcome is whenever somebody passes away. That happens all too often too, where that impacts the decision making. How would you think that a deceased person affects decision making and chores?
Hmm. I could see maybe not just one scenario, but a couple of scenarios. Either that role gets filled in, or that one person could still be grieving about that person passing. It's like, oh, this is what dad used to do. But I really can't speak for all people that have had deceased family members. But it's like one could still be grieving and doesn't want to do anything in the house, which leads to then fights all the time. Or the person can then pay their respects and fill in that role in like the chores. That's just my general viewpoint of that.
And sometimes in certain events, I'm sure this has happened where, you know what, I'm going to do every single chore in the house today because I want to put my mind off of it, right?
That's another
Sometimes
possibility.
that's a motivational thing where it's like, I don't want to think about the bad, so I'm just going to think about the boring, right?
Because then you still want to, yeah, it will. On one end, it's like, okay, this will motivate you to pay that family member's respect. And you know what? That person lived a long life, and I'm still going to carry that legacy. That's the
And
only silver lining there.
maybe they didn't live long though.
But you still wanna, I guess, pay their respects and then kind of do everything in the house.
Because guess what? Divorce is only something that could be done with a married person, right? But
hmm
deceased members don't have to be the oldest person or don't have to be the married person. What if in this situation, what would happen if you were to die in your family situation? What
I
chores are not going to be done as effectively? What different things would you think would happen with chores and decisions?
then that means there needs to
Like
be
this
some.
is a weird situation of think about if you just dropped now. What
Uh,
happened?
what somebody would then have to, um, like fill up the food buckets for the cats. Someone's got to then fill the food bowls for the cats. Somebody's gonna then have to do both recycle and garbage cans on the same at once because hey, this person can't do it with me. I'm gonna have to do it all, or I'm gonna have a different sibling help me out because I wouldn't be in the picture. But there was just some might have to fill my roles, and or that person does just about all those roles.
Well, think about it this way. I'm going to ask you this then. Are you the only one in your household who's like a spice freak.
I mean, I'm probably the only one that goes beyond what most people would do. So
that's something that won't happen as often. The super hot stuff being bought every single week.
I mean, my family. I mean, we do spice because
I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying you know what? You were the only one who did the atomic level stuff. We don't need to get this atomic level stuff anymore.
because this is what this person liked.
Or different things where we're going to sell the Adobe elements that you should have got.
Son.
No,
Hey,
if anything, your brother's probably going to take over that because he still does creative stuff like that, right?
not as of lately.
Yeah, if anything, maybe
In high school, he
you
used.
you you put it in your will that it goes to me. There you go.
Yeah. Lovely.
But no, there are different events that will not happen. Whether it is a chore, right? Maybe it's just a decision of you got tickets to go to a concert. You're not going to use them anymore. Maybe you're the only one who liked that band, so maybe they'll just try to sell things or just will forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just different things that you don't think about.
But yeah, I guess overall, it's like every situation's got their different things.
But if you were to go also, other decision making processes are going to be impacted too, not just family, right? What the heck is this going to turn into if one of us is not here?
Well, I would say this channel would then be well, I wouldn't say deceased, but it would just, I guess, just not continue.
It'd probably have to be rebrand. I'm going to tell you this: if I go relatively soon, you're doing the projects that that I've put forward.
Well,
Whether you adopt Skip to do everything with you, or somebody else.
unless you want me to AI you.
You know what? In 5 years' time, that's gonna be easy. All you need to do is load the Jake.ai program. There you go.
Maybe that's the only thing I would do.
If
But
anything, at the very least with that situation, that version of me would definitely know his lines, right?
of course.
And then that version of me will still be like, "You're getting your lines wrong, Dom. You got to do it again, Dom.
That's right.
Again."
Hey, maybe in 10 years it'll be exactly like how you're talking right now.
You know what? At that point, just get the Dom and Jake AI to just go, okay, you on the left, me on the right.
If I was
Generate an episode that's all about this.
or then let's say I'm the only one running the channel and then I'm now on the hospital bed. Then I would create the whole AI situation before the whole heart monitor goes flat.
Right. But regardless, different other things get impacted too. Not just your family, not just your house, but thinking about maybe this is weird, but thinking about maybe your phone gets a call from Panera Bread. And it's like, you're hired. Wait a minute. You've been fired in the crematory. Whoops.
Well, there goes that loaf of bread. It's all crisped up.
In the name of the body of the Christ and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
That would have been I could see that being a limited edition item.
Oh, jeez. We don't need to get that advanced into it, but definitely different things happen to people in order to prevent certain things from happening. Like one day you decide every single day you're going to go into this restaurant every single day at 3 p.m. You order the same exact thing. You do this for 10 years. Then you stop coming in.
Yeah, and then
The staff is going to be like, oh shoot, this guy's not here. Oh no, that's sad. Maybe something's up.
yeah, because they're used to cooking the same thing for this guy that comes in.
Like, that has happened before. Like, some people only have, let's say, 3 to 4 to do something. And they'll do the thing that is close by, and guess what? It's always the same place every single time. And then after a while, you are the regular, right? Or one of them. And the staff knows, okay, we're going to put the cream cheese bagel and the cinnamon toast crunch blueberry smoothie on this particular seat every single time at 2:50. So then it's always perfect right there by 3. Right?
Perfect.
Well,
But it's like, but then it's like something's off. We made the cheese bagel crunch smoothie sandwich, and then it's like, oh, he's not here. Where could he be? But if
and
anything, he's in
sometimes
the.
people will hold hope and be like, well, you know what? 3 to 4, right? If at 4 there's still no activity, then we'll worry. Oh my God, it's 4. We're worried
now. Well, now he's in the oven in the sky. Turns out.
Regardless, it feels like I might have to make the decision right now alongside you so that we could do a shared decision making. Do you think now is a great time to end?
I would say so, yes.
All right. So this is a shared decision making in the works, right? Good example.
Whoa!
Thank you all for listening to another episode of DomJake Podcast. I have been your host, Jake.
And I've been your host, Dom.
Thank you for watching. Click that subscribe button. Smash that notification bell. Smash the like button. Share this thing and comment down below. You know what? You tell them to comment something.
Comment down below, like, your experiences in terms of chores, whether it's with, like, mom or dad, brother or sister. Really, like, just any values that are shared. Just the whole 9 yards.
Lovely, lovely. With that being said, have a great day, everyone.
See you.